special thanks to Joanna Frost for her work in reviewing this slideshow so that it is accessible. Sorry again for getting it to you so late, but thank you so much. Okay, so with that, we will start off with Dr. Dotson.
Thank you, Jeremy. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you. I appreciate all of you who took some time to join us today. Hope you are doing well. Hope you had a great break and great Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving. Couple of updates for me, although you're going to hear quite a bit from me today. The first is I want to talk a little bit about our heating issues on campus. If you are not aware, we had what I would characterize as a catastrophic failure of some of our heating systems on campus. It started with one minor issue in building 1800 and quickly spread to building 400, 100B, and 100A. What we thought might be something that we could fix quickly. In fact, they were able to get building 1800 back online quickly, is turning into something that's a little bit more challenging. That heating failures occurred about 2 weeks before the Thanksgiving break. You've probably seen, if you've been on campus at all, M&O out trying to dig to locate some of the leaks in the pipes that are causing the heating issues. 1800 is, I'm told, is back online and is working. 100B was at about 50% of capacity because it's a larger facility. They didn't lose all heat, but we have now hired a contractor to provide heat to that building. And so by the end of the week, they should be at 100% heat. Building 400 is on a different system. They have copper piping, and that failure was something that could be fixed a little bit easier. And so they should have heat back in 400 this week. And building 100A will be without heat for probably 6 to 8 weeks. So that's the building that myself and Carla and Daleks and Sarah and Zulema are in. So that building will be offline for quite a bit longer, although I will just give a shout out to M&O staff for working really hard to make sure that we had space heaters available to try and keep us as warm as we possibly could. Jeremy, can you go back to my slide for me? I appreciate it. So that we expect that the process to completely fix some of those issues is probably going to be a couple of months in the making. Nonetheless, we are working to try and make sure that there are temporary solutions to provide heat to those facilities through the December and January timeframe so that we can have a more permanent fix in the future. Those issues with heat were kind of a key player in something that we did, which was a 2-week pause leading up to the Thanksgiving holiday. We had a couple of things happen. So I want to start with just by saying that the health officials at the state and county level are the ones that are telling us when it is safe to operate, and if we are going to operate, what we need to be doing to keep everybody as safe as possible. And we rely on them very consistently to make decisions about what we need to be doing. So if we have any kind of potential or real exposure, we reach out to them. If we have a question about whether we can or can't be doing different activities, we rely on them. And we use that state guidance to lead the way for us moving forward. Coming up to the Thanksgiving holiday, I think our health officials, particularly in Yuba and Sutter County, identified that they probably weren't going to be able to control the number of people who would choose to gather with their family and celebrate that holiday as they normally would. And they made a recommendation that organizations potentially take a 2-week pause in operating in order to limit exposure going into the holiday. We probably would have not taken a complete pause if it weren't a perfect storm of challenges that were presented for us all at once. So we had some of our facilities that have the most people working on campus with no heat and not likely going to be any heat. We had, the challenges of increasing COVID cases, the guidance that we should consider taking a pause. And so we did move forward with taking a pause there. We continue to talk to Dr. Liu consistently. In fact, talked to her today, just less than an hour ago, to make sure that we are doing everything we can to try and contribute to controlling the spread as much as possible. So I appreciate your patience as we work with her to make sure that we keep everything as safe as we possibly can. Couple of updates for you. The Building 800 remodel process continues. That committee is actually meeting again on Friday. There have been a series of meetings, and they're getting closer and closer to trying to make some final recommendations on what plans will look like so that construction can begin. I appreciate all of them for their time and effort. The paint project is also moving forward, and it's on a much more accelerated timeline. What I want to share with you today is that there are going to be two opportunities for broader college-wide input into the paint and weatherization process. The first opportunity is that there's going to be a survey that will come out to YC All that will give you an opportunity to look at a couple of draft color palettes and signs and symbols that are being considered by the project team as they design what the outsides of our buildings at Marysville campus will look like moving forward. That survey is likely to come out right about when we are wrapping things up for the fall semester. I know that the timing isn't ideal. However, I am trying to ensure that this project is completed by the end of next summer. And in order to do that, we're on a really tight timeline to make sure that we can get our plans in place so that we can bid the contractors that will do the actual painting. So that survey will probably be open for a couple of weeks. Again, starting no earlier than December 11th, it will be sent out to YC All. The second opportunity for input will take place in January. Between January 18th and February 5th, I will be working with David Wills from the district office and the architect to give a series of presentations on what the 95% version looks like for the paint and weatherization process. Those presentations will occur at College Council, at the Academic Senate, and at the Chancellor's Cabinet meeting. At those meetings, which you all, certainly could join the Academic Senate or the College Council to listen to, you'll get a chance to see what the project team has come up with and to make some, any sort of final adjustments to what that final plan might look like. So again, two opportunities for some broad input into what the future will look like for the outside of some of our buildings. December 11th will be a survey to YC All, and then in the January 18th through February 5th timeframe, you'll have an opportunity to hear a presentation and give some feedback on what the pretty close to final version will look like. My last update for today is that I did send an email out about a climate survey. We are working in partnership with the district and Hanover, which is a research firm, to gather some input on how how the college community thinks we are doing on our current planning and work toward responding to the pandemic, and then what it might look like for the future. It will certainly ask you questions about how you think communication went, how you think the steps that we took went in the past and in the present, and then ask you what that might look like in the future if we were to move toward, probably in the longer term, if we were to move toward a more open campus. What are the kinds of things that you're hoping we will do to make that safe? So I do encourage you to take 10 minutes or so to answer that survey. I found it to be very quick and easy. Couple of tips for you. You only get to take it once from your IP address. After you select a response and you hit next and move forward, you can't go back. So please do take your time, make sure that you're checking the right boxes, and that you're moving forward with the survey, carefully and giving your responses there. We appreciate that because it will help us. We will use the feedback from that survey to guide us moving forward. With that, I will invite Carla to give you some instruction updates.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to see you all here. I have presented this at Academic Senate, and I presented this at College Council, and I'm just kind of taking it on the road show because I think that it's important that we are all kind of on the same page and doing the same work. Enrollment management is not just an administrative task. It's not just for faculty. It's for all of us. It's for staff. It's for faculty. It's for administrators. With that being said, I want to talk about how we came up with kind of what we are doing with strategic enrollment management. Year 1920, we were in an IEPI cohort to learn what enrollment management was. We were the ones that initiated it at Yuba College, but we knew from the very beginning we needed to decide that we needed the district on board and we needed Woodland on board because this was going to affect all of us. So we did that. Jeremy, can you go to the next slide, please? The first goal of the enrollment management team was to come up with a statement, and we did that district-wide. It was approved through all of the Senate. And really the first goal of it, and the first line I'll read to you, is the purpose of Yuba College Strategic Enrollment Management is to develop a holistic, comprehensive, and integrated approach to enrollment management while focusing on schedule, professional development, instructional, and student support strategies to enhance access, success, persistence, and goal attainment. And again, this is all of us. This is, student services who are helping the students fill out their, FAFSA form and their financial aid and their applications and all of those things. The second to the last bullet on this one is also to increase collaboration among departments across the campus to support the enrollments of goals and the institution. And that's why this is kind of the roadshow that I'm taking so that we're all aware of what we're doing. If you can go to the next slide. The second goal that we were looking to do with the enrollment management group was to create policies and procedures for FTES targets and FTEF allocations at the division and department level. This is the first year that we kind of implemented the criteria of efficiencies and what that looks like. Eventually, we would like to get to the targets of each of the divisions and departments, and that's probably the next step. We're just rolling this out, and a lot of you have seen kind of these efficiency targets. Our efficiency target for this year is 13.5, and if you look at this on the bottom, I don't know if you can, the bottom screen where it on the left-hand side where it says FTES, FTEF targets, it's 13.5. If you follow that over, that is an average estimate class size over the whole campus of 27 people in the classroom, knowing that some of our classrooms can't hold that many people and don't because of either state requirements or there's just not enough space in the room. The reason we chose the 13.5 that was asked before in one of the other presentations was because we were pretty close to that already, and we figured we could hit that. We didn't expect COVID to come, and we didn't expect that, our enrollment was going to decrease so much. So it has affected that. One of the things that I want you to want you to know too, though, with the budget crisis that we're in, with the enrollment decline that we're in, one of the ways we were supposed to make up the $1.2 million deficit that we're in this year was to hit these targets. Next slide, please. So if you look at November 3rd, this was a snapshot of where we are. Middle of the page on the right-hand side, you can see that we are only at 11.15 right now, not the 13.5. So we're not doing a really good job of making up that deficit here. Next slide, please, Jeremy. The next goal that we wanted as the enrollment management team was to come up and revise our schedule development guidelines. We do have a handbook right now. The draft has been created, and then again, COVID happened, and that's kind of been put on pause. We need to get that back up and running. I can tell you that we're going back to having the scheduled meetings within the divisions, the departments, and then with my office. Next slide, please, Jeremy. So as of right now, and how we're doing the scheduling, I want you to know the summer and fall development timeline was put out late. Typically, it's put out in September, or I think it's August, September. It goes to the divisions. The division deans talk to the faculty about what what the criteria is that they're looking at in order to schedule the classes. Is it on a rotation? Is it required for a certificate? Is it required for a degree? All of these things going in. How many classes of the same are we offering? Are we offering 5? Are we offering 3? What is our enrollment? What does our enrollment look like? And they're having that at the division with the faculty and the deans. Then it comes to my office when they're done with that. And my office has a bigger group of people looking at it. I have the counselors. I have Jeremy, the institutional effectiveness, to pull in the data, look at that, just to double check that we're doing the right thing. The counselors to look at, are we scheduling classes in the correct manner? I know one time, I think we had 2 classes scheduled at the same time that we knew the same students needed, and we needed to move that around. So it was just more eyes on this. So when we have Sheila in the room, the registrar, who's the one that actually creates the schedule, and really just trying to make everybody have better eyes on it and what we're offering for our students and when our students need these classes. Next slide. Oh, and before I go to the next slide though, for the summer and fall, I want to let you know where we're at on that, because I did say that it kind of went out late. Right now, we're usually wrapping up all of those meetings with me that have already happened with the deans and the faculty. We might be a little late, but one of the things that we need to do is we have to have this solidified and done by the end of January, because it takes Sheila a good amount of time in order to get this ready and put in so that students can register. I also want you to know, moving forward for our summer and our fall, what we're looking at. Again, as Tawny said, we're following, health guidelines and recommendations and things of that nature. So summer, we're still probably going to look to the target that we are right now, as far as an 80-20. We may increase some of our hard to convert classes and or lab classes up to 50%. We're going to look at that. We're going to talk, but we're going to be more conservative for the summer. Come fall, we're definitely going to be looking at, maybe a 50-50 split, depending on the needs of the student. And Jeremy's going to talk about enrollments and some of the enrollment trends that we're seeing that's creating an inequity for our students, and why we really want to get back to having more of the face-to-face classes for our students. So moving forward for, just the enrollment management plan, the goal 4 was to have a holistic plan with long-term goals and strategies. I know that one of the long-term strategies that we would love to see is a 2-year plan for each of the programs, or a 2-year scheduling cycle for the programs. So everybody, including our students, know when they're going to be offered, how they're going to be offered for the next 2 years. For a full-time student. Granted, we know that, some of our students don't go full-time, but we need to start somewhere. Long-term, that's guided pathways, that's all of those things, but wanted everybody to be aware of where we're headed with all of this. Next slide. So with that being said, I also wanted to, because we're in a decline and because we're looking at efficiencies, I wanted to bring in 2 slides that Kuldeep presented at our last board meeting that really showed where we're at and why we do have to be better with our efficiencies, because we are, if you look at this, our employment costs are our highest, where they should be, right? Our staff, our faculty, and things of that nature, but our total expenditures are going to be higher than what we're bringing in. And if you go to the next slide, Jeremy, this is the picture that I look at and my heart just sinks, because if you look at the green line, not only are we in a budget crisis, but right now I think you all are aware we're kind of held at a hold harmless. We're being funded at our 17-18 rate of FTES calculation, along with the, the other parts of the student funding formula. But if you look at where we're headed, we're not going to be funded at 7,306 FTES. Right now, 1920, we only have 6,930. And the base allocation, if you look at that, we're getting paid $3,800 per FTES. That's a huge chunk of money that we're not going to be having coming in. So I'm bringing this to everybody so that everybody's aware of it and we can get the support of everybody to try to figure out where we can do some cost savings. And I think that's it on my slides. And I think it's up with Jeremy to talk about enrollment.
Yep. I'm going to give a brief enrollment update as we are ending or nearing the completion of fall. We know a little bit more about where our decline is happening. And we have some disproportionately impacted groups that are specifically seeing lower enrollment rates as a result, or kind of potentially as a result of our move online. So here you'll see the breakdown from 2019 fall to 2020 fall, and it shows the groups with the highest percent change. So male students are down 14.7%, where female students are down 8%. But if you look at our non-resident country, it's down 25%. This makes sense with all of the additional limitations on immigration and travel. Next slide. Here we see that 18 to 22-year-olds are down 15%, and our 50+ students are down 37.4%. Our older students are less likely to take courses online and probably a little bit more cautious because of COVID. We also have a significant decline in new students. So just over 20% down for our new students year over year. And then transfer students are also a little higher than the rest at 13.6% down. Here, American Indian or Alaska Native, we have a smaller group of those, but it's down 41% from fall 2019 to fall 2020. And our unknown is down 34%. And then you'll see that our Black African American population is down 16.9%. Disabled students or students with disabilities, they are heavily impacted right now. The enrollment is down 26% in that category for our college. Looking ahead at spring, our data is going to be a little bit interesting for a while because we started registration so early. I think it's great that registration started earlier, but seeing that we are 115% year over year, given that we started about 10 to 20 days early. But if you'll look here, you'll see that that we are kind of nearing the line. So we're getting closer to matching that line of acceleration. I also included an update on the information that Carla shared with you earlier as far as summer and fall 2020. So this is where we are currently. Yuba College is at 12.98 in efficiency with a target of 13.5. The district overall is only at 13.14, with Woodland being at 13.39. And that is the end of the enrollment update at this point. I will turn it back over to Dr. Dotson.
All right. So I know that was a lot of information and very heavy, and we have a couple of questions to try and answer from the chat. We'll do our best as we're working through that. So I want to take this moment to ask us to do a little bit of a reset. And that reset is because we're going to take some time to acknowledge and honor some of the great things that have been happening at Yuba College and the great people that are doing them. So hopefully some of you today received in the mail, I know not everybody got it, but got a card from us and a packet of hot cocoa. And if you have that hot cocoa and you're ready to drink it, now's the chance to warm up some hot cocoa. And there's a Danish and Norwegian term called hygge. And it is the idea of being comfortable, of creating an atmosphere where you've sort of settled in and sought a feeling of content. And I'm hopeful that you will either right now, do a little bit of a reset so that we can focus on these great things, or when your hot cocoa arrives, that you'll take a few minutes out to do that and think about all of the amazing things that have happened this year. We frequently, when we're in these situations, focus on all the challenges, and we've just identified some work that we've got to do moving forward. But let's take a few minutes to talk about some great things. So we are first going to honor our 2019-2020 Yuba College Excellence Awards winners. We have, through a survey and through a process that you all were involved in, identified a couple of people who have really made a huge difference or made a huge difference in the 2019-2020 academic year, which you all know was ended in at the end of June. So I am first going to ask Carla to introduce our full-time Faculty Excellence Award winner.
Mute before somebody tells me I'm muted. I am so excited to do this. We typically wanted either the dean or the director to do this, but the director wasn't able to be here for this one. So our full-time faculty award is going to Lynette Garcia. And Clark had wrote some words, and I asked him to do that so that he could talk about her. And so I'm going to read what he put. I know Lynette is a fan favorite from all of us. I think she's well deserving. And so this is what Clark had to say. Lynette Garcia is a Yuba College Nursing Program alumni. She is the Assistant Director of Nursing for the Yuba College Nursing Program. She's a dedicated mom. A previous director asked her, "What am I to do with you?" This director asks, what would I do without you?" There is so much to say about Lynette and how much I depend on her. Here's just a few examples. She developed the nursing webpage. She developed the nursing handbook. She developed the pediatric curriculum and clinical. She has been a mentor for most of the faculty, whether she was assigned to do it or not. She was also able to get the nursing program updated and through the curriculum committee and to the state. It hadn't been updated since 2011. She was one of the major contributors in the process of getting the BRN approval without any violations, the first time in 12 years. I consider her a coworker, a friend, a confidant, and someone who keeps me sane. Lynette puts students first and is truly committed to her students. She has also been on several Yuba College committees. She is an active member in her community and her school district. She has facilitated an active relationship with Sutter Yuba County. There is so much more she has done for her students, coworkers, college, community, and healthcare than the list of examples above. I'm proud to have worked with Lynette and see a very shining career ahead of her. I am very thankful she has been a part of my life. I can't think of anyone more deserving of this recognition than Lynette. And I would have to agree with everything Clark said, including she mentors new administrators that come on. She asks how we're doing. She cares about everybody on the campus, and I can attest that she's done that for me. So Lynette, with that being said, would you like to please unmute yourself and say a few words? I saw you here. Where'd she go?
She may have left, but nonetheless, we are appreciative of everything that our faculty and staff do, and grateful for a chance to recognize someone who's helping to set the standard there. So thank you, Carla, and congratulations, Lynette. Our next speaker will be Michael Bagley, and he is going to introduce our part-time faculty winner.
Thank you, Dr. Dotson. What a privilege it is to be here today to honor and surprise this faculty member that I really admire and am so thankful for. So get ready for it. Claire Eberhardt. We are so honored to have you on our team. I have tons of good things to say about you, and I want to share with the group. The thing that first comes to my mind is you say, how can I help? All the time. And you're at places that I haven't seen part-time faculty members at all the time. You come to the division meetings. You work with your full-time faculty member on curriculum. You just say, hey, I would like to volunteer. And, you know, this can-do attitude is just contagious. You know, you're a dedicated mom. You're a fantastic colleague. Most recently, this past year, you wrote a tips guide to succeed with the special admit high school, early college high school students. And, you know, these faculty members have embraced it and have thanked you for it. You have the ability to teach in more than one discipline, which makes me super happy, teaching in humanities as well as history. You've agreed to pioneer and take on our Women's American History class coming up in the fall to go online for us. I can go on and on, but the talent. Oh, one other thing I think is very worthy to note. Claire is basically an expert with online instruction, and I've known it before, but when she comes out, when we had to change over to remote learning, she again said, well, if anyone needs any help, Michael, will you let them know? Here's my phone number. Have them call me. I will help them for free. I'd be happy to. And let me tell you, when a lot of people have taken her up on the help. And so someone who's just the ultimate colleague, someone who's incredible at teaching and just really cares about her students and the people she works with. Claire, you deserve this honor. So congratulations. And if you happen to be here, I would love it if you'd share a few words for the things I might have forgotten, but it's an honor to have you here, Claire.
I thank you. Yeah, it's a surprise. So thanks, Michael, and nice to be recognized. And I enjoy working here a lot and working with the faculty. And so I kind of try to put myself in any position that's open so that I can be around all of you guys. And I really enjoy working with you guys and the students. So thank you.
Thank you, Claire. What an honor to have you.
All right, thank you. And with that, I will ask Jeremy Brown to introduce our classified staff winner.
Thank you. So I am very happy to be kind of announcing that the classified staff winner for Yuba Excellence Awards for 2019-20 was Crystal Fair. Crystal, last year, she started out the year working for both CTE and my division. Having that split focus was something that she kind of dove into with a lot of skill and energy. I know that she was a lot of support for our CTE areas, and she was a lot of support for my area. Crystal has done a lot to help with our lead committee, the work of that group, including helping to put together a website at the last minute. That wasn't part of the 2019-20, but she has really taken on learning about the new programs and software so that she can help out. She has updated websites across the board When board docs came in, she quickly jumped in and learned how to use board docs and worked with the CEAC committee last year to produce a template for how to use board docs that was now approved by College Council and is being reviewed by Academic Senate for broader use. Crystal also stepped in when we had a departure in our campus life area and jumped in to help plan campus life activities and events, kind of improve our focus on equity, diversity, and inclusion in campus life activities. She jumped in to help take care of ASYC, to help get them through a rocky semester with the COVID pandemic. And she is always there with a smile. She's always there to help. She is always looking for ways to kind of step in and support however she can. So I'm very proud of Crystal, and also want to congratulate her because she did all of that last year while maintaining a high GPA towards her bachelor's degree, which is extremely important, and I encourage her to keep moving forward on that. And so I think I can go on for a while longer, but congratulations, Crystal. I believe you're here, so if you'd like to unmute and say a few things, that'd be great.
I just want to say thank you. I appreciate everyone here, staff, faculty, administrators, and I got to admit it makes my job easy because you guys are all amazing, and I love what I do. So thank you.
All right, our next award is the Yuba Spirit Award, and it's my understanding that in the past, the Yuba Spirit Award has been selected by the college president. And so as you might imagine, it was a little bit of a challenge to give out a Yuba Spirit Award for the 2019-2020 academic year, since I started 13 days after the 2019-2020 year ended. But with a little bit of work and nudging and effort, I convinced the president's cabinet to help me out by identifying people who had really made a difference in that academic year. And we had a pretty rigorous process and a pretty rigorous discussion, but we did come up with someone that I think is incredibly deserving of this award. And I am going to invite Dr. Hunt now to unmute and share a little bit about our winner.
Yes, I'm glad and proud to say Jessica Gason, your Spirit Award winner. Jessica has gone above and beyond to support students and staff during the pandemic. As you know, COVID, there was a lot of unsure ways of how to support students and staff. But Jessica has demonstrated that. She not only created online, easily accessible forms and processes for the counseling department, she assisted other departments in accomplishing the same. She worked tirelessly, often in the late hours of the evening, to answer students and staff questions and build all that we needed for counselors to support students during the time. An example of her dedication is her willingness to work with peer mentors and Sonia Horn to have them trained and ready to assist with self-service. I also have heard from the various departments and others who really appreciate Jessica's attitude, her dedication to Yuba. She's very Yuba proud. This Spirit Award came in 2019 to 2020, but me being a new administrator and a new person to this institution, there's a few people I recognize right away, immediately, because I'm looking to say, well, who's going to service students? Who is really focused on seeing student success? And right away, before I even know her name, I walked into that building and I was greeted with a warm presence. And an example of this, we had a couple Fridays ago, There were two students, a student and a counselor for foster youth trying to get into the building, as we were working remotely, as you know, because of heating issues. They managed to, I let them in. And as soon as Jessica was free, she was like, you know, it was 110%. And that commitment, that dedication, and I was like, this is an example of how we all should address and how we should support those coming in, members of our community, would-be students, and those who are currently enrolled. So Jessica, I am proud and very happy to be working with you. You're an excellent colleague, and congratulations on winning this award. And I welcome you to say a few words if you like.
Well, I don't really like to speak very much, but definitely thank you, everybody. And yeah, I just do what every good secretary is supposed to do, and definitely giving 110% when a student walks through the door. So thank you.
There's something that is incredible about recognizing people, and not only just hearing about all the things they did, but seeing the faces light up of the people who have a chance to honor them. I just appreciate everybody taking some time to identify some of the amazing people who are making a difference for our students here at Yuba College. And we're not done. Now we are going to debut the 2019-2020 anniversaries and honors video. So typically at Yuba College, there is a spring event where everybody gets a chance to come together, and we recognize people who have been doing amazing work for a very long period of time. And so anniversaries from the 10-year to 25-year mark, and they get presented with plaques and trays and some really nice and meaningful gifts. We didn't get to do that this year. So we're going to do two things instead. And the first is that we have worked with somebody to create this video to honor not only those service anniversaries, but also our faculty members who made it through the tenure process and demonstrated that they are going to be long-term members of our community and be great teachers for our students. For those of you who did have service anniversaries, and you know who you are because you sent me your photos, we do have those gifts for you, and Zulema is going to reach out to you to make sure that we can get them to you. But since we are in these distance times, we've created a video. You'll see some of the people you know in this video. This is posted online on YouTube, and we will also post it on our social media channels so that others get a chance to see some of the incredible people who have been making a difference for a long time at Yuba College for our students. So without further ado, hopefully this video is going to start up. Yay! So just a huge moment of gratitude to those of you who have, been making a difference for so very long in our students' lives. And to our tenure track, our tenured faculty members, congratulations. You have completed that portion of a really incredible journey. What you are doing is above anything else I could imagine, and making a difference in students' lives. And I hope you will see that. Thank you to everybody who submitted a photo and a quote or a story, despite my vague request to do so, and to Jeremy and to Ramel, who helped to put that video together. We will email you out the link. We will post it online, and I hope you all will get a chance to watch it again, and do a better job of reading it. I know it's hard to read. So with that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hunt, who is our next presenter on the student success campaigns.
Nope, that would be me.
Okay, sorry.
So, so I'm going to do a quick intro, and then I'm going to turn it over to Irma Guzman, who is really the one who's been kind of working on this nonstop and getting the information out there and tracking the progress. So we have had a student success campaign. It's a pretty active in-reach campaign. The calendar is there. It's a way of us reaching out to students either that haven't enrolled, that enrolled in the past semester, or students who applied but didn't enroll, students who are close to graduating or could be close to graduating. It's a way of us helping our students stay on the path and complete their goals. So Irma's going to talk a little bit about the work and the results.
Change the screen. Nope. Yes. I want to say cheers to Hug Coco. Thank you very much. So different outreach methods that we have been using is emailing through the Yuba College email, their personal email, through the Yuba College app, sending direct messages, sending messages through text through our SAR system. The ways, some numbers you can see here from our term to term that we did this fall, we were able to gain 821 students from the year to year. So they were in the fall semester, but not enrolled in this fall semester. We were able to gain 112. The applied but not enrolled, we were able to reach out to about 1,500 students. The just-in-time orientation, we were able to reach out to about 1,300 students. Students with no ed plans that had reached the 15 units or more, we were able to gain 725 students for ed plans. Thank you, counselors. The part-time to full-time, that was for late starting classes. We were able to reach out to almost 3,000 students. For transfer, ADTs, the on track to complete for graduation, we were able to reach out to a little over 1,000 students. And overload units, so these are students that are 75 units or more. There are about 41 of them, and we were able to reach out to all of them. On the slide, I have little sample text of what we actually sent to them. We keep it nice and simple, but with the right information, we can reach out to them and let them know that we're here for them, and get them in to see us and take care of them. That's it. Oh, and right now we're working on starting the campaigns for spring 2021, the term to term and the applied but not enrolled. I'm done.
Thanks, Jorma.
You're welcome.
And now I believe we are turning it over to Christoph Nostinger.
Hello. I just wanted to actually take a moment to highlight, I know at the last YuZoom, I talked about how we were going into the fall plenary, and I wanted to highlight some of the resolutions that were passed that may have some immediate effects on us. The plan is to actually start some discussions in the Senate at our Senate meeting tomorrow. So if you want to or can attend the Senate meeting, you can hear a little more and join in the discussion then. There were some papers that were adopted, and the papers that come out of the State Academic Senate are very informative and very useful. So definitely, if you're in a committee and have something, some issue that you're looking at, I recommend you take a look at the papers at the State Academic Senate website, the ASCCC website. So some of the papers that were adopted, actually, I believe these were all the ones that were adopted at the plenary, include looking at anti-racism education, effective and equitable transfer practices, equivalency to the minimum qualifications. So that's an update on a paper, and protecting future of academic freedom in a time of great change. Next slide, please. So I'll just go through briefly some of the resolutions. And again, this is not an exhaustive overview. So each resolution has background, whereas statements, and some of them have additional resolved. So I just picked out just to highlight some of the resolveds. So one of them, so this is, I'll just read it. So it's resolved that faculty and other stakeholders are asked to examine their personal role and commit to dismantle structural racism by signing the anti-racism pledge. Next slide. I'll skip over this one, although it talks about zero textbook cost designation. Next slide. This was a resolution having to do with making sure that the way that we're putting putting the information about courses in our schedules are informing students of synchronous classes. And I believe we're already doing this, and it's something that I've been very vocal about making sure that this is happening. And I believe that we're doing a good job of making sure that this is clear. Next slide. So this resolution has to do with trying to make sure that guided pathways work is integrated into all of our institutional processes and structures. So that's something that I would anticipate that will be probably coming from the Guided Pathways Committee, as well as the Senate, that will be encouraging that to happen. Next slide. And then there's a resolution about ensuring that cost transparency, that course cost is transparent for students. And I'll just read this one. So resolve that the Academic Senate for California Community Colleges encourage local academic senates to advocate for the implementation of a process for consistent, clear, and transparent messaging to students prior to registration regarding all material and supply costs in appropriate locations, including the schedule of classes and the bookstore. And I think that I'll stop there so that we have enough time. I did put a couple of resolutions that will have, maybe I should mention this. So there were two resolutions that I anticipate will have some future impacts. One is that there's going to be work on Title V language for minimum qualifications, in particular, updating what's usually called the second minimum qualification that has to do with diversity. So making it more up to date with equity and anti-racism and such. And then there was a couple of resolutions passed having to do with that having an ethnic studies graduation requirement added to local degrees. And many of you have probably already heard that there's work coming down from the CSUs to add an ethnic studies requirement. So I suppose this would kind of go in line with our local degrees and our ADTs as we see need to change there. And I'll go ahead and stop there. And I believe it's the bookstore, Jasmine, who's coming after me.
Thank you, Professor Nofsinger. So like he had mentioned, it is very important that students know their true cost of class when they're enrolling. So I'll go through this really quick, but if you have not submitted your book order, please do so now. Students are already enrolled in classes that they don't know what materials are being used. So if you have not submitted that, please get it to us ASAP. Right now we're at 52% complete of courses versus last year 18%. So we're doing really good compared to last year, but again, students have been enrolling for classes, so there's 48% out there, if I'm doing the math right, that don't know what materials are being used. So please get that information to us as soon as you can. We'll accept it in any form, email, phone call. If you'd like to visit us, we are here 8 to 3 Monday through Thursday and 8 to 12 on Fridays. Or you can use our online adoption tool, Fall at Discover. Next slide, please. Fall at Discover is accessed through Canvas. So if you click on any course when you're in there on your side menu, you will see Fall at Discover. Sometimes you may have it disabled in your settings, so you can go in and have it pop up on there. And you can give us a call. We can help you with all of that as well. And next slide, please. This is just a little snapshot of what Fall at Discover looks like once you're in there. A pop-up window will open the tool and you'll see all your courses that are associated with your name, and you can browse course materials. You can look at your library, what you've already used. It's a pretty simple process. And there's a demo video if you need any help. Next slide, please. And here are your bookstore contacts. There's myself, my assistant manager, Angelica, and then I also have put our Woodland and Lake managers on there. But we talk to each other every day. Whoever your usual contact is, you can continue to go through that person and we'll relay the information. Thank you, guys.
All right, and with just under a minute to spare, thank you everyone for joining us today. I appreciate it, for taking a few minutes to recognize the those who were honored for their service anniversaries, for being granted tenure, and to our Yuba Excellence Award winners, and our Yuba Spirit winner for the year. Congratulations. We are incredibly proud of all of you. You will see the recording of this session as well as the link to that video coming out very, very quickly here. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you have a great night.